Recorded live weekly on YouTube.
It actually stayed the right volume that entire time.
Yeah, I didn't mess with it.
We're making progress.
There you are.
2022 has started off well.
Yeah. And at that point in time, we're going to change that very, very quickly. Because I think yeah, okay, so then he's gone. Our special supposedly
Yeah.
guest has finished. I came back in. You're here. Well, I think Happy New Year, you English fucker.
Happy New Year, you mad Irish cunt.
Yeah, that's it. How did you
Happy New Year, Will, Soflo, and Gabby.
how did you fare last night, mate?
Ugh,
How bad did you get? How bad did you get?
I was paralytic last night. Like, I don't even remember the end of the night. I don't even remember Big Ben chiming. That's how far I was gone. What about you?
No, I didn't even stay up to hear the bells. To be honest with you, I was just I just had gone to sleep. Like I said, I there was nothing that I can really do to it snowed here. It's been snowed under for about a week now. So there
Mm,
was no place to go. I had a wee bottle of whiskey in the house, of course, for medicinal purposes, but that was about it.
I was on the ale all night. Drank way too much. I woke up this morning. I was like, kill me.
So it wasn't a scrumpy hangover.
No, it
Have
was.
you ever had a cider hangover?
I have. I'll tell you the worst thing I ever had a hangover from was cocaine. Like the come down from that drug is insanely bad. I
Yeah,
can totally see why people get addicted to it.
yeah. I can only tell you that there's been times where the only time I've ever dealt with cocaine in a fashion was medicinal grade cocaine that surgeries use to send to surgery centers to do anesthesia, and I was with somebody and I dipped my thumb in it. I was delivering these things. I dipped my thumb in it and I stuck on my thumb and it made my mouth go all numb. But I guess
Mm.
that's part of it was the numbness effect. So I didn't really have anything on that. But on the same time, I will say, when I got injured and I was on the Omnipom or the morphine, I could see how people get freaking high on heroin all the time. I mean, like I still think about it. That was 30 years ago, and
Yeah.
I still think about that.
Oh yeah. Like I've only ever done cocaine one time in my life. I was at a party. Someone rolled out a line for me. I did it. Never touched it again. Couldn't touch it again. It was so awesome that like I knew I could never touch it again
Yeah.
because that I would end up snorting my life away. But yeah, it's impressive how some drugs just hook you like that. You
Yeah,
know.
if you find the one that finds the hole in your soul, then you're on it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the way that I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't think that for me, cocaine would do anything because I being faster or feeling more whatever would do me any good. But the waves of euphoria and the not caring, as a person who grew up in a war zone, that's the freaking best feeling ever. You know what I mean? Best feeling
Yeah.
ever. Floating on clouds.
Oh, Richter, can you hear us fine now?
Yes, thank God. It sounded like that
Hey,
was
Rick. So, Richter, now you've stepped
frightening.
into the lion's den. Have you ever tried an illicit drug that you knew you couldn't take anymore, or have you just always been a good boy?
Is he thinking?
I don't know. Maybe he's not going to answer that.
I can't. Okay, there you are. You were disappearing.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? What was the question, Kevin?
Have you ever taken an illicit drug that you
No.
took once, and then at that point in
No.
time you realized you couldn't take it again because you would be seriously an addict to it? Never
No,
take, never
never.
take an ecstasy pill or anything like that.
No, I've been too scared.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair
What's
enough.
wrong with my internet? I think it's Wi-Fi.
Right.
That's a good enough answer. I mean,
Yeah.
It's better off if you haven't, to be honest with you.
Oh, Doug Thompson's in the chat. Never see him in the chat. Hey, Doug. Thanks for reading my comics all year.
So this guy, the Mr. What was his name? Mr. Blue that you had on last time, the teacher,
Mr. Yeah.
Mr.
Tom.
Mr. Tom,
Yeah.
Mr. I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed listening to his idea of teaching the younguns, the primary school kids. I'm a primary school teacher. A lot of times people don't know that, but I do that as well.
We had to be very careful about what we said in case it got back to his work.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You do have to be very careful.
Uh-huh.
As the line in the latest episodes of Coronation Street proves.
I don't watch Coronation Street. I was watching EastEnders though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something happened on EastEnders that was good. I can't remember what it was though. What was the line for Christmas? Did somebody almost get married at Christmas?
Someone did get married. Everyone got married. Gray and Chelsea got married, and Denise and Jack got married.
Oh.
And Whitney tried to stop Chelsea and Gray getting married because Gray murdered his last wife. It was this whole thing.
Yeah, I think I watched it up to the thing. I think last time I sent you a message, it was playing the EastEnders theme song in the background, and you commented on it. And we were just sort of it was like up until like Thanksgiving Eve, and Sam was like, she said to me, don't try to do a Cockney accent, Kevin. It's the worst ever. Trying to do it. She says I sound like an Australian.
All right, I've got to hear it now.
Well, no, I mean, because she says that my accent is Cockstralian.
Cockstralian.
I like that.
I've got a Cockstralian accent. I don't know. I'll have to work my way into it. But like if I'm trying to do, what's your man there? That's the butcher, not the butcher, the barkeeper, the barman,
Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer. I mean, he's got a strong accent, doesn't he? He's a bit of a geezer, mate. You know what I mean?
Oh God, that was terrible.
Yeah, I'm a geezer. I'm goddamn.
Stop doing it, Kevin. It's awful.
That's what she says.
If somebody from the East End of London heard that accent, they wouldn't be offended. It's that bad.
I bet I could do a better accent than Kevin.
Could you think you could do a London accent, Richter?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's more of a West End girls, East End boys one. That's more of a Pet Shop Boys. We're not looking for a Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Pet Shop Boys, Neil Tennant accent.
It was better London accent than you.
Oh, there's definitely no doubt about that.
He could have spoken in his normal American accent, and it still would have been a better London accent. I was about to tell a hilarious anecdote about Christmas. So I got absolutely hammered last night, obviously, but on Christmas I got a bit merrily tipsy. I did a lot of cooking, and in the end of it, I got drunk afterwards to relax. Now, what kind of debauchery do you think I got up to when I was drunk?
Did you rub the giblets on your cock?
God.
Oh no, Kevin! I didn't do that.
And if you did, we want to see photographic evidence.
You're a bit of a geezermite. You know what I mean?
Stop doing the accent. I'm not a
All right.
patriot, as you know, but I'm starting to feel a little bit of pride here.
All right.
No, but
so
seriously, take a guess. What kind of debauchery do you think I got up to?
did you light the? Okay, so this wasn't Christmas dinner, so it doesn't
This was
matter.
Christmas night.
You
Christmas
talked
night.
to a girl for the very first time.
No.
You forgot to light the brandy pudding on fire, so it was pure brandy.
No. I managed to set the pudding on fire. It was magnificent.
Yeah.
But no, come on. What's the most debauchery thing that, a drunk man of my age could possibly get up to Christmas night?
And you weren't in the village,
Weren't in a village, I live in the middle of nowhere.
so you're in the middle of nowhere. Did you? Does this involve any livestock?
He's not Irish.
Ferret
Ferret racing. Good guess, Doug.
That's what I was going to say, like ferret racing or chasing, like you put the ferrets out looking for like hares or something. Were you coursing in the middle of the night naked?
Why? What is this? You want me to roll giblets on my dick? I'm naked in all your fantasies. What's going on, Kevin?
Well, debauched was okay. So you got okay. Does this involve you using the internet in any way, shape, or form?
No. This is
Oh,
just
darn.
something. I was very drunk. Christmas night. This is something that I did that that you would do on a drunken night.
Oh, called up for a prostitute.
That would have. I would have been more impressed with myself if I'd done that.
Do they have prostitutes there?
Yeah, we do. There's a bunch in Carlisle.
Escorts, yeah. So, but it wasn't that. So you didn't call
No.
up for a prostitute. You didn't, and it doesn't involve being on the internet. You weren't like sexting somebody or sending messages to somebody else of your body. So it's basically you're drunk and debauched. Let's see. Does it involve you throwing up anywhere or passing?
No. Didn't throw up. So anyway, I'm just going to tell you because you're not going to do it.
Okay, thank you.
So instead of getting a prostitute, more drink, watching porn, doing something genuinely interesting, I got hammered and I redesigned Keith and Colin. I can't remember doing this at all, but I woke up the next day, my computer was on, and there on the screen was the new Keith and Colin.
There you go. Keith and Colin, for those who don't know, is Richard's Bigfoot cartoon that you do basically daily, don't you, mate? Usually pretty much daily.
Yeah, most days, yeah. I try and take the weekend off. So there they are. There's the new Keith and Colin. I really wish I'd woken up with a prostitute. I didn't even think about that until Richter suggested it, but that would have been a much better use of mine.
I just thought maybe you talked to a girl for the very first time. I was about ready to cheer you on.
Yeah, it's and if you ever want to hear an uncomfortable situation, like there was this one time Richter was talking to my wife, and he was trying to sound like a straight man, and it was horrific, brother. I mean, I could tell you.
Was it as bad as your Cockney accent?
It was as bad as my Cockney accent for a gay man trying to sound straight. It was bad. It was bad.
What's up, bro? What's up? What's up, bro?
You want me to find a stud wall in this house?
What? What? What up, yo?
Give me a screwdriver. I'll hang a window or something for you.
Yeah. Trump 2020. Yeah.
We don't talk politics, though. We don't talk politics on the program.
Religion, politics, or toast?
A toast. We're not
Or
interested
toast.
in what kind of toast you like. French toast.
Can we talk about cults?
Yeah.
Well, no,
You can
yeah,
talk about cults if you want.
we do talk about Bigfoot cults.
Yeah.
And as you,
My
We
favorite.
have lampooned Matt Johnson quite a few times.
yeah. If you want to know anything, if you want to, I answer all questions. Matt Johnson on the show.
No, he's irrelevant.
I
Yeah.
think he's floating away slowly, floating away as far as anything that we can talk about. I don't even think there's anything out there right now that would sort of even come close to it. I mean, Kelly and Kawani,
Well,
man, they're separated. Matt Johnson's gone. There's
that was
nothing.
gone. Bigfoot. The whole topic's dead. Like,
Adam Davies is now on Bigfoot chick number 47 in 5 years. So yeah.
Is that what we're going to talk about? Adam Davies and having a new girlfriend, it's not a new thing for me. I don't. I mean, I really don't care at one point or the other. But uh, you know, this is the thing. I'm saying this as a person who has an accent at times. You know, Richter, I talk to you sometimes. I don't have an accent, and sometimes I do. Just depends on the situation I'm in. Who I'm talking with. If I'm talking to Richard, I tend to have some because I actually feel like that's my normal way of talking this way. But Adam has an accent that a lot of ladies like. But I'm not gonna lie about it. He's a
yeah, I
funny,
mean, like he's
he's a
he's
funny guy.
handsome.
Yeah.
He's got a
I can
nice
impersonate his
accent.
accent. Richter, Richter, if you were there at the portal, you would have seen the 2 little gate guardians come out too.
Yeah.
Richter,
Well,
oh,
that's what I was saying about Adam is his story about the portal is
he's a Bigfoot hoaxer. They're all hoaxers. He's a liar. He's an opportunist. That's who he
uh,
is. Yes, if we come from the position that Bigfoot is not real, as science dictates, as science has shown, all these people are liars and hoaxers, or they're disillusioned,
well,
or they are on some kind of a drug that you were talking about earlier. So that's the fundamental truth here. Until
well,
we get that body, it's all bullshit.
well,
Sorry, can I say bad words?
yeah, yeah, you
Okay.
can. Well, it's Richard's show. It's Richard's.
I don't. Yeah, I've long since given up trying
Yeah.
to stop people doing that.
All right.
Okay.
Here's the argument I'll make to you, Richard. I mean Richter. Here's the argument I'm going to make to you, which is that the fundamental argument that you have that everybody is a hoaxer. I don't like that. I understand where you're coming from the standpoint of if we haven't proven that it's real, any attempt to prove something real that doesn't do it is a failure, right? I would agree with you that they are failures. I'm a failure. Adam Davis is a failure. I'm failing at the ability to prove what I've said. Okay, I will give you that. I will give you the fact that I have failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I saw Bigfoot. Okay, so we'll start with that. It doesn't mean that I'm lying about it. To me, the hoaxer part of it always says that there's a lying component in it. And I don't believe that everybody that says that they have seen Bigfoot is a liar. You
Yeah,
see
but
that?
that's why I say lying or on some kind of chemical substance or an alcoholic or just nuts. There's a bunch
Right,
of things at play here.
right,
Pareidolia.
right. There are a lot of things that could have that could explain it. But I think in any unknown where you're looking at the unknown, you have to look at from the standpoint of if you look at it from the greatest degree. Um, I mean, Richter, you like UFOs. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've talked about UFOs a lot, right? And
Hmm.
so you're interested in the idea of UFOs. And most governments will say um, 95% of all UFO sightings are totally explainable, 5% are not. That's what I'm saying is true in Bigfoot. Maybe 99.95 are explainable, 0.05 are not. But you still have to basically say to a person that you know I appreciate your story. I mean, what I'm saying is if you were to say to somebody, I appreciate the fact that you said that you saw Bigfoot, but I think it's I think it's an irrelevancy that we shouldn't follow up on. I think that that's a scientific standpoint, right? Science says to, I mean, if there was a propensity for this thing to be real, science would spend money on trying to research it, but there isn't, so they don't, and that's the way it is. That's the way I
I'm
look
on
at it.
Richter's side.
Yeah,
We should be starting from the point of view that everyone's a hoaxer because Bigfoot does not exist.
No, but here's the thing. You'll have people that come up to you at conferences if they recognize you from your content, like my YouTube shows and Bigfoot Bounty on TV. You know, they'll come and say, Richter, I saw something I can't explain. That gets my attention because they're not making a mother effing conclusion as to what they saw. If Richard Allen came to say, Richter, I saw a Bigfoot, I mean, dude, shut up. But if Richard Allen came up to me, Richter, I saw something I can't explain when I was in the woods of Ireland. All right, let's hear it. Okay? See, that's the difference here. And there's a lot of stories that are fascinating that corroborate each other in regards to the Bigfoot subject that don't look anything like or resemble the Patterson-Gimlin hoax. When we take, to quote you, my buddy Kevin, when we take the Patterson-Gimlin hoax out of the equation, then real Bigfoot research can begin.
I agree.
Applause.
I agree with that.
And that's where I'm coming from.
Because I do not think the Patterson-Gimlin.
Yeah. So you can see that we've had some in-depth discussion, and I remember every single word. This is why my ex-boyfriends hate me. I remember on this date, at this time, Kevin, you said, quote, da 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 da. Remember? Am I right, Kevin? Pretty good, huh?
You're right. That's no. That's what I mean. Here's the thing.
That's why I'm single.
In order to have in-depth conversations about this, you have to say where you stand on it, right? You do have to come up with an opinion and then stand by it. I'm saying to you, and all I've ever said to you is there's something weird in the forest that I can't explain. Whatever that is.
And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, you're not making a conclusion.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is the Patterson-Gimlin film was not a hoax. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin killed those Bigfoot, and then Bob Gimlin ate them.
Yes.
That's what happened.
That's our theory. That we take the MK Davis theory and go farther in saying that the reason that there is no evidence of the hoax is because Bob Gimlin is the government's quote unquote fixer.
There is no Men in Black. It is Bob Gimlin who goes and eats these things. Aliens at Roswell, Bob Gimlin. Patterson-Gimlin, Bob Gimlin.
Yeah. What we're trying to say is if you've seen something weird and you've reported it, and then all of a sudden you see a 4'5" guy with a cowboy hat show up, you're fucked.
Oh, really?
You might as well start just slathering yourself with barbecue sauce because you're getting that.
Hey, Richard, do you know what's made me change my entire position on Bigfoot?
Meeting the Bigfoot community.
And being as close to Bob Gimlin's manager as I was, Russell Accord, and being given the information pretty much firsthand from Russell Accord about it being all a hoax, and that he had filmed Bob Gimlin doing a deathbed-like confession, talking about things that are scandalous, and how Russell Accord, wanted to get his hands on the actual suit that Roger Patterson used. And I told him, you're never going to get it because they burned it. That's what I told him. That's the easiest explanation. You're never going to get your hands on that suit.
So what do you think about this? What do you think about this idea then that everybody says, well, the guy from the Planet of the Apes says it's not possible?
Because they want to believe. Bigfoot is 100% belief-based. Belief is a very powerful motivator with your cognitive abilities, to sound like Steven Struffert. Belief is very influential in how you operate as a human being. It's our fundamental core. It gives us meaning. Beliefs are everything to us. And when we strip them away and have to see the cold, hard truth for what it is, it's very frightening because it's jarring. It's not warm. it's actually frightening. That's why you have people that just are drawn to the most absurd things that are belief based, like cults, because it gives them meaning and it makes them feel comfortable. That's what it's
Right.
about. That's why.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
To sound like you.
What I'm trying to get at is the main argument that a lot of people say whenever you say, okay, Richter, let's play devil's advocate and say that you were told this information and that was a spurious information that somebody, I believe you were told that information, but let me just put it to you this way. What if they were trying to get you to say that in the community and they were trying to lip load you to start a alternate conspiracy that is not true? In other words, they were trying to get you to gin up a conspiracy about Bob. What would you say about that?
Considering how well I know Russell Accord, he's not that smart. He doesn't plan things that far in, and hoaxers do not put a lot of thought into what they're doing. It's the quick and easy, and he's a braggart, and he was bragging to me because hoaxers do that. Rick Dyer does it, and they talk too much. They can't keep their damn mouth shut. They don't know when to keep things close to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
They're unintelligent.
Period. So when you look at the film, because Richard and I have said this repeatedly on the program without you being here, but we've said the more definition there is that people put out in the film, the more it looks,
the faker it looks. Yeah.
Yes. You can see the cufflink on the arm, on that right arm. You can see where the glove and the suit don't mash up perfectly.
Right.
It's awful. And the buttocks, the anus area, the butthole that Marlon Keith Davis likes to zoom in on, play with his giblets. It doesn't move. An animal, gorillas, all those muscles in the butt area move when an animal, especially that big, is moving.
Right.
It doesn't move. Oh, but then like you're at a Bigfoot conference and you've got Cliff Barackman or Dr. Meldrum, if you zoom in here, you can see this particular muscle on the neck. You know what? That's just possibly fluff from the suit. We don't have HD to really truly zoom in and analyze exactly what is going on. And if we had HD, and if this was truly filmed with today's standards of technology, we would see a zipper.
Mm-hmm.
It would look, yeah. I would very much like to see a proper HD version of that film because I got a feeling it'd be a lot more obvious what it is.
Right.
Be one of them ghillie suit jobs you see on NVTV.
Right.
That we used to feature on the program.
But here's the thing that I think is interesting. Now, and I think it is interesting that the three of us, and we've talked about this off air.
Go ahead.
But are the three of us are sort of science fiction nerds, right? Whether it be a funny science fiction program or whatever. If you're talking about Red Dwarf, we're talking about Star Wars, whatever. We like looking at it, right? Part of the problem that we have as people who come to the subject is that, for example, we have the Blade Runner problem, whereas whenever if Harrison Ford is looking at these different things and he's saying, okay, zoom and enhance, that doesn't work. You can't do that, with Bigfoot videos. In other words, we can't make the definition of it better than it is. And as a person who takes film, slides of family and then tries to convert those into digital things that people can put in their albums and stuff like that, you can't make it more. You can't have the resolution be more than that's on the film itself. And I think that's what we're falling into, that trap. This zoom and enhance thing doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we continue to think that we will be able to see this clearer and clearer and clearer one day, and I don't think we ever will. SoFlo
from the chat wants to know what if it was. I think he's coming from the position if the movie was fake. Why did Patterson Gimlin have breasts?
Because they're straight men. What do straight men talk about? What do straight men like to think about? What do straight men enjoy? Breasts. Let's give it breasts so that it'll look like it was not just a man in a suit. It was brilliant. You know, yay for straight men.
Right, but if you look at just play devil's advocate for that. If you look at the breasts of a orangutan or an ape or something like that, or just in general, any type of mammal, woman, whatever, who doesn't wear a bra for the majority of her life, the breasts don't look like that. You know what I mean? They have a tendency to sag down, and they have, they're not perky, pert breasts. In other words, I mean, so the idea of that is strange to me, to add that to it. It does make an interesting point. Do you have any kind of idea other than that's to say what would you think? Well, obviously Bob Hieronymus, if you're saying that he was in the suit, had nothing to do with picking the suit, right?
No, according to Bob Hieronymus in his interviews, Roger made the suit.
Right. But again, then that does make an interesting thing about at the time, silicone breasts were not something that somebody was.
Yeah, but you could put a couple balls in a woman's nylons, and string the nylons around your neck and put that underneath the suit. There you go. You got some pendulous breasts underneath your suit.
Right.
There's a lot of things you can do. You got to think like a drag queen, girl.
Well, I know, Richard, you and I know that you can buy fake boobies for stag nights at any joke shop when we were kids. The fake tits. But they were plastic. I mean, do you think you literally think, Richter, that this was just a gag where somebody's like putting plastic tits under a suit for a?
I don't think it was plastic. I do think they thought it was a gag. They were out to film a Bigfoot movie, if you recall. Oh wait, there's a Bigfoot. Are they that lucky? No, they're not, because Bigfoot's not real. They made it real, and now. Here's the double-edged sword. Yeah, hoaxing is bad, but because of that phenomenal Bigfoot all together, friendships were made, lifelong friends, children are the product of these relationships. It's a very influential film. And so, yay, I applaud Bigfoot hoaxers because they keep the legend of Bigfoot alive. Because researchers fumble the ball at the 10-yard line, and then hoaxers come, grab the ball. See, this is a football reference for you, Richard, so try to hang in there. It's not your kind of football. But it
is my kind of football.
Right on. So hoaxers make the touchdown. That's Bigfoot in a nutshell.
Yeah, I agree. Who's your favorite hoaxer, Richter?
Ooh, that's a very good question, and no one has ever asked me that. God. So I'm kind of moody. Sometimes I think Roger Patterson, because he had the benefit of death to not mess up his work. So because like I said earlier, hoaxers tend to open their mouth and spill too much and share too much, and therefore everything's blown out and ruined. But because of his untimely death, Roger Patterson is definitely probably my favorite hoaxer. If I were able to go back in time, and meet him, I would not admonish him. I would give him a high five and like, dude, how did you do it? Because after you die in 1972, this shit goes on, sorry for my language, for 50 more years. and your wife, Patricia, makes money off the TV film. Whenever it's shown on TV, she still gets a check. And do you ever see Patricia Patterson on TV talking about it? Nope. Do you ever see her in documentaries? Nope. She keeps her mouth shut. Why? Because she's smart. She knows the money's going to be coming in. It might not be every month, but whenever that footage is shown on television, she gets a check. And that's a fact. to sound like Steve Isdall. Those are the facts.
So and even though the patty itself is named after Patricia Patterson, right?
I
mean,
think it's
that's
named
my
after
understanding.
Roger Patterson's last name, to be honest.
Oh, do you just is that what you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do you think Gimlin was in on it?
Yes, he turned the
Hmm.
blind eye. He might have helped Hieronymus put the costume on. Who knows? He was a part of it. And it's all about money. And back then, Bob Gimlin was swindled out of money, and he was angry. Could he have outed Roger Patterson for the hoax like Bob Hieronymus did? Yeah, but instead he chose to stay quiet. Why? You know why I think? Is because I think this is just Richter's own theory. I think Bob Gimlin gave Roger a cowboy handshake because he knew that Patricia would be getting the money from the film. And I think Bob Gimlin, if he gives you a handshake and gives you his word, I think it's honorable. I know the man. He's a very sweet, kind, old-fashioned philanderer. And if he gives you his hand, he gives you his hand. Ask any woman in Bigfoot that's kissed him and made out with him at a Bigfoot conference. And I've seen this firsthand.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, it's not hard to say. I mean,
I think he gave him an old-fashioned cowboy handshake to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because men back then were cut differently than the cowards that we have today. So,
yeah, I think Bill. I think Bob is a guy who keeps his word. I will say that I've seen Bob in what I would consider, in my opinion, to be over the line behavior with a female.
yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about it, but I mean, but it's that's a matter of opinion. So
And character. That's character.
right, but what I'm saying is from that standpoint, right. I mean, we don't know the boundaries of everybody's relationship. That's fine. I'm not gonna. I mean, like I would say about it. If I was doing business with Bob and it was like I'm buying a horse off Bob, and he says, "Oh, here's what it is. It's worth this much." I'm shaking your hand. I would believe that I would show up and get it. You know what I mean? I'm not delving into somebody's private issue. I mean, we all have, like I said, private issues that we wouldn't want people to get into. We don't get to our age.
But
I mean,
here's the thing, though. And to counter that statement of yours, when it comes to Bigfoot, all we have is a person's character and integrity because there's no body, there's no actual real evidence. So all we have are these people's background, who they are, how they act, what they do. And if someone's a liar and a philanderer, what does that say about their so-called claims about Bigfoot? I call bullshit.
well, I mean, I get it, but they're fun to hang out with. They're fun to hang out with at a conference after the conference is over. I'm saying,
I bet for all the shit he gets, Rick Dyer's a laugh on a night out.
oh, you brother, I'm telling you, there is no way that Rick Dyer is not the master storyteller on the Lash.
Well, I think he's number 2. Rick Dyer is number 2.
You think
Number
so?
1, yeah, Bob Gimlin is the master storyteller because he tells the same story and he gets paid for it every year, multiple times at Bigfoot conferences. You don't have Rick Dyer being invited to Bigfoot conferences telling his story.
No, but
Why?
I'm just saying.
Why? It's because Rick Dyer, like all hoaxers, open their mouth and share too much. If Dyer never admitted that it was a hoax, if he held on to it being real, even the absurd freezer body from 2007, if he held on and said it was real, people would still believe him because Bigfoot is belief based. But I'm sorry, Richard, that dumb motherfucker, he freaking opened his mouth and spewed and upchucked too much information, ruining his chance to make perpetual money every single year at Bigfoot conferences. Because if he had never come clean, if he had kept his mouth shut, he would be like Bob Gimlin at Bigfoot conferences talking about how the government put that fake body in the freezer. That wasn't what I shot, blah, 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 blah. See what I'm saying? Hoaxers always blow it. They blow it. Here's where Bob Gimlin blows it as a hoaxer. He changes his story every single time he retells it. When Patty turned and looked at him, he was crossing the creek on his horse. And then he says in the recent Sasquatch documentary that came out on Hulu, Bigfoot turned and looked at him because he was getting off his horse. What's the truth, Bob Gimlin? How can you? Oh, he's old. He's this. He might be forgetting things. Da 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 da. You know what? That's nice. But when it comes to something as extraordinary as this, we have to pay attention to details. This is why Wes Germer from Sasquatch Chronicles got busted for being a hoaxer. He couldn't remember when he was being ambushed by Sasquatch if it was a full moon or not out in the woods. You would remember if it was a full moon or not out in the woods, especially in his original telling of the story.
Hmm.
So hoaxers
Yeah.
blow it. They
Yeah.
do. They
Devil
always
is
blow it.
due.
Bob
Devil is
Lazar.
due.
Bob Lazar has never changed his story about working at Area 51 S4 back in the late 80s on the UFO craft. His story still is tight.
Yeah.
Bob
That's what-
Gimlin, not so tight. Sorry,
That's what-
guys.
That's what I'm saying. Well, it doesn't. Like I said, it.
It doesn't bother us.
Yeah. We
I'm sorry, but am I a little too much than you were expecting to have on your podcast? Sorry.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because to be
All
honest
right.
with you, it's quite good. But I look at it from the standpoint of this, right? I mean, whether you look at it from this standpoint, what surprises me about Rick Dyer, and I'll go back to this point here, is that Rick Dyer is what? A car salesman, right? He's a used car salesman. At the very heart of it, that's what he does for a living, right? He's a used car salesman. And what surprises me the most is that Rick Dyer puts out a selling, um, a service, that says, this is how you're supposed to sell. This is how you're supposed to sell. What never surprises me about Rick Dyer is that he ought to know more than anybody in the world that whenever you're selling something, the first person who speaks loses, right? When you're negotiating, when the nitty gritty comes down to it, and everybody's sitting there in absolute uncomfortable silence,
Right,
do not
right.
speak. And he spoke. That's the
Yes, yes.
problem with him.
Yes.
So he does have a conscience. He does know right from wrong. But what I'm saying is from that standpoint, and I'm not saying car salesmen don't have consciences. Don't get me right. But that's how, I mean, I've made my living on it. But all I'm saying is that from that standpoint is, he does get weak and he does break. And that's what makes him kind of an interesting guy. But what I'm saying is if you were on the lash with him, and if you were just sitting in a bar having a bullshit talk, I bet you he has 1,000 stories that are fun to listen to. That was
He
my
does,
main.
and I know him personally. He's a very charming, fun guy, but he's very self-destructive. He destroys all his relationships. That's just like his nature. Like Desi Arnaz, Lucille Ball, when asked why did Desi Arnaz destroy everything, because he can. That was her answer, and that's the same with Rick Dyer. He's self-destructive because he can. He has no self-control, and it's sad. And you can't be around someone like that long term, because it'll destroy you as well. So
Well, Richter, our deranged super fan Gabby is a huge fan of you, so you got that. So she was commenting when you said, "Were you too much?" She said that she was loving it.
oh,
So,
cool, right on. Go hi. I have a fan.
Yeah, well, you maybe this is what I'm saying is that it is interesting when we all get together and actually talk about stuff. I mean, there's all times where for the three of I don't think 5 years ago anyone would say Richard and Richter and Kevin are going to be on the same program talking about Bigfoot.
I'm
But it's
pretty sure I was still calling you a raving lunatic 5 years ago.
Oh no, I probably was. As far as you were concerned, it probably was a raving lunatic, and
I
that
think I
was
was still blogging 5 years ago, so yeah, probably.
yeah. No, you literally said this guy stands up for Matthew Johnson. So at this point in time, you were a cult member of the worst case, and Richter would say the same thing. And
I agree. Yes.
And all I would say.
Yeah.
And all I would have said about that is that I wasn't necessarily saying that Matt Johnson was right. I was just saying that my experiences with Matt Johnson did at that point in time, in my estimation, go along with what he was saying. But that's not the same thing as saying believe everything that he says. Yeah, and I can understand why you think I'm nuts.
You said you saw a pterodactyl. I had ample reason to say you were not.
Well, here's the thing about that, and Richter is lovely enough to make. You know how Richter does. His cartoon comments on everyone, and Richter did one with me, and the pterodactyl and Matt Johnson. I was Richtered.
Yes, you were. Yeah. Yep.
Brilliant.
And I like I said, what I said, what I said was now is I have no, that was a moment where I just said what I said. Like I said, it was probably not the best thing to say, but I did see something that was bizarre and strange like that I can't explain. That's all I'm going to say.
So it wasn't a pterodactyl now.
It was
Well,
a big bird.
If it was anything, it was one of those Quetzalcoatl things.
It's a
Beep,
thunderbird.
beep. This Kevin is reversing.
No, I'm saying it was huge. Like my understanding of a pterodactyl is they're not that big.
Some of them weren't. Rhamphorhynchus was tiny.
Right? That they're basically the size of they're basically the size. It was massive. That's all I'm gonna say. It was a thing that was massive.
Oh, God bless you. Bless your heart, Kevin.
The size of a plane, the size of a small plane. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yes, Jet Sex, the 14 slip did come back recently.
Oh, God.
I believe it's just Chris and KT now. I don't think Steve Alcorn is doing it anymore.
God bless Steve Alcorn for leaving that crap.
What is that? Well, I don't really know that much. Is that with the one where they just got on, basically started screaming for like the first? There was some program where they just basically started screaming and swearing for the first 5 minutes. They couldn't say.
That's pretty much every other bad word being said left and right out of context. Yep. Yeah.
If you enjoy that.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, that was like my childhood, screaming and every other F word. I mean, like, let's say Northern Irish people can make the F word almost every word in a sentence.
Yes, Gabby, that's pretty much every single fan's story.
What?
Nothing. I have no strong feelings either way. I'm just saying the Freudian slip is back, and I think he's doing it weekly.
Ugh. Hold on.
Why do you not like it, Richter? I have no idea what it is, but why you don't like it?
I am a man of the finer things in life. I have something that's called taste and standards in when it comes to broadcasting and providing the best polished material possible as content for my viewers.
Right. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because when Richter came into view, there was for a wee Irish man named Kevin and his wife. When Richter came into view, there was quite a lot of videos with Richter and object sex, not object dar, but object sex. So you used to use a lot more dildos and things like that in your filming of Off the Richter.
Yes, for shock value. Yeah, to freak out the straight men. Absolutely.
So that was what that was. It wasn't trying to say. Were you trying to push your agenda per se onto a conservative group of people?
I was just trying to rock the boat, and I did. Just my breathing rocks the boat. So
I wish Nikki was here. She'd love all the dildos and everything. Is Off the Richter coming back again?
Yeah, I'm currently working. Well, it's already going on right now. The last season. And
Sweet.
Kevin and I are working on the last 2 episodes.
Richter has taken me up on board as a creative consultant lately.
I consider you a producer.
I need to
Editor. You're an editor. You help edit my monologues. Yeah.
Which is very scary.
And me. You make me the best representation of Richter can be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And just
Thank
wait
you.
until I throw in pterodactyls are real, and that's what you read on. But what I'm saying is from that standpoint, yeah, Richter is planning on doing this episode and then the big sort of end of Richter's career in
In
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, yes.
Yeah.
My sayonara, my bon voyage, my
Yeah.
big
Well,
fu.
what finally ended your love affair with the Bigfoot community?
I'm
if
sorry,
I
you
may
broke.
be so.
Can you repeat that?
What finally ended your love affair with the Bigfoot community, if I may ask?
Russell Accord and the truth about Bob Gimlin, because even though I was starting to doubt the Patterson Gimlin film, you still hold on to hope. You still want to believe that that footage is real. But when it's, thrown down right in front of you for what it is, and you finally get to the truth of the matter and you start to see what every single person in Bigfoot media is all about, themselves, and screwing people over, using people, destroying people over imaginary Bigfoot bullshit, that's when you're like, okay, when am I going to finally wake up and see it for what it really is? It's all a fraud. It's all a shame. Excuse me, it's all a sham. So do I want to continue pointing the finger at all these bad people when no one else wants to really listen to me? And since it's all belief based, look, for example, David Paulides has over 325,000 subscribers on YouTube. Bless you. Steve Isdall has like over 200,000. It's crazy how many people subscribe to their content and reinforce this agenda of Bigfoot being real, where they're attacking people in their videos. And there's no checks and balances. And Steve Coles is no Squatch detective. Let's be honest.
Oh,
Rest of them. He's a fraud just like the rest of them. And when you finally realize to see the truth of the Bigfoot world when it comes to media and everyone in front of a camera on TV and on YouTube, it's like, that's it. I'm done. I don't deserve this. I'm above and beyond better as a human being, as a content producer, and as an educated man to make decisions on my own. I don't need some middle-aged creep who has a bad police record telling me in his videos, those are the facts. Shut the fuck up, David Paulides. No. So no one ever says, guys, and you got me triggered, here's off the Richter. No one ever says, is Bigfoot real or is it real? Let's discuss both sides of the question here. No. In order to make money, you have to perpetuate the belief and prey on people's hopes and dreams. Bigfoot is real because I'm telling you it's real. Look at all these emails I've been getting. Look at all these stories. This is your story. This is all about you. I'm here to protect you and fight for you because what these people are saying about you is wrong. See how this mental manipulating, this gaslighting is going on? That's Bigfoot now. Because we've gone past the hoaxers of the Rick Dyer era. We're now into the gaslighters, these people that are making you question everything about your beliefs when it comes to this.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's ridiculous.
I'm
out.
Yeah, it does seem to think that from that standpoint, we've got into the clearly Bigfoot and beyond stage. You know what I mean? That the Bigfoot belief now incorporates Q beliefs and political beliefs and all these different things, which I don't particularly like. But that being said, Richter, you can't say that everything that you wanted in a program, Richard has provided for you here because we have actually said the things that you said you wanted in that.
Yes. Yeah. I wish more podcasts were like this.
Yeah.
Richard doesn't have an agenda to push on people to make money.
Right.
No, I do this for fun. This isn't a...
Yeah. And
if I was doing this for money, there'd be a hell of a lot more production value. Let me tell you.
What are you saying? What I want to say is now, Richter, you went back to college and you went from someone who was a person who was just basically a radio blog spot radio talk show host to a YouTube creator to a person who's now doing videos of a professional level, and you're getting certificates for that, and that's why you think also that being in Bigfoot and having that sort of
It's a
thing, it does-
detriment.
yeah,
It's a
it doesn't-
detriment to my
it
career.
doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's funny because there are other people who believe in, and I don't want to say their names because obviously you feel like, I didn't talk to them first, but there are people who are video creators who are also in film schools lately that are doing it so they can make sort of videos about Bigfoot and all that stuff.
And you
for
know
the-
what? That's unfortunate for them because, for example, Seth Breedlove, I've told him, dude, quit making small town monsters, Bigfoot nonsense. You have potential to go big in Hollywood. He could be the next Steven Spielberg. Does he listen to me? No, because he's in his comfort zone. And it's very hard to break free from your comfort zone. For example, do I really want to leave Bigfoot? Do I really want to leave Stop Making Off the Richter? Kind of no, because I enjoy it and I'm good at it and I make great content. But then the real fear is, will I succeed in Hollywood? I have to have faith in myself outside of the current box that I'm in. And I think I do have the potential to make it big, be successful, to make good money. Because in Bigfoot, you don't make good money unless you're hoaxing. And I want to be a man of integrity who makes money the right way, not based on people's beliefs and pandering to them. So Seth Breedlove, keep doing what you're doing. Keep crowdsourcing your movies. There's nothing wrong with that, but I would rather go to a producer, pitch my script, and be taken on and make a full-on budget film. So that's the difference between me and Seth Breedlove. I want to go big. He's staying with small town. Like
But
my
what I'm
pun.
saying is a lot of people believe that, that's how you do things step by step, and that's the way that, I mean, I'm saying
Well, it should be. It
Yeah.
should be, but Bigfoot is a dead end. Look at Renee DeHinden's life. Look at Peter Burns' life. Look
Yeah.
at Dr. Meldrum. He has a career as a teacher in the Idaho State University system, and he makes his side gig money on Bigfoot stuff. That's all there is to him. That's it. Okay.
No.
Well, you do you, boo. I want to go far. I want to get some achievements under my belt. I deserve them. So
Right. Well, are you saying that if, for example, you were to make a film, a fictional film,
movie. Yes.
a movie, yeah, about a subject, would you include a Bigfoot character in it?
I would, and I would be open to that, but it has to be done right. And in order to do Bigfoot right, it's either a comedy like Harry and the Hendersons, which was by
Brilliant
far
movie.
one of the best Bigfoot movies ever made, because it's made for the family, or Legend of Boggy Creek, where less is more. And when it comes to Bigfoot, less is more works, because we
Mhm.
truly do not know what this creature looks like.
Yeah, you don't really want to include anything like definitive because that's why Boggy
Right.
Creek was so good.
Like, for example, since it's belief based, let's look at Jesus Christ. Some people think Jesus is black. Some people think Jesus is white, like most American Christians do. So what does Jesus really look like? Do you want to show him what he looks like, or would you rather just imply that he's there in the scene or whatever? You have to think about your audience.
Mm.
So
I thought that
That's-
was going to go in a completely different way, and I'm glad you just ended it where it was.
why? What did you think I was going
I
to
was
say?
going to say some people think Jesus. I mean, it was the idea of the look of Jesus and then not including him in the film as a reference point actually makes sense, because then Christians of all ilks can therefore relate to what
Yes.
what he would be.
Yeah, because it's belief based. So therefore, you're going to be getting your interpretation out of that vague like footage, camera angle, whatever.
Right.
So,
Good
You
point.
remember when we used to feature videos on this show, weekly Bigfoot videos that we could have a laugh about,
Yeah.
and you guys fell in love with that idiot, what's his face, the Dogman guy.
Daily Dan.
Ugh. And the reason we stopped doing those videos was because they were all the same and they were all so laughably fake.
Daily,
We were just
Daily Dan. Daily Dan. Yeah, well, I would just. Hello, mate. I'm Daily Dan.
What? That was what? That wasn't even close to.
That's my Australian Daily Dan outfit. No, I'm just gonna say, hey, everybody. I'm Daily Dan. Walking through
You
the
know,
local woods of North Carolina. Here we go.
that was
That's
better than your Cockney accent.
yeah, it was
You know,
closer.
I gotta say, I'm taking a peek into the chat, and I love everybody's comments here. Jet
Mhm.
Sex, Care Bear, Skin Rug. Oh my god, I love these names. These are great. I like what they're saying.
I think Jet thinks says for a long time thought I was a member of the Illuminati and an MI6 agent.
Jet
Um,
Sex and Gabby and SoFlo are our oldest.
Yeah.
There's more of a chance of Kevin being a McDonald's drive-through worker than being a part of the Illuminati guys. Just letting you know, right,
That's
Kevin?
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's a funny thing. I've always said this. You know, from my standpoint, I've never been in the center of attention, but I've been around the fringe of it. You know what I mean? I am. I am like Minge. I'm like Minge. I'm the Minge fringe.
Kevin,
Right?
have you ever? And Richard, I have a question for you. This goes for you as well. Have the two of you ever received death threats over your Bigfoot content?
Yeah, when
Bigfoot
I was blogging. Yeah.
over Bigfoot?
Mhm.
No, not over Bigfoot. No.
Yeah, right on,
UFO,
Kevin.
UFO stuff. Yes, absolutely.
Richard, what was your death threat about Bigfoot?
I used to get anonymous comments all the time. Not so much Matt Johnson. Matt Johnson was the one I was expecting to get the most hate from because he was a bona fide cult leader, but I'm actually pretty tight. I was actually mates with him for a while, you know. It was the lesser known ones that I got a lot of hate for, like that woman in Julia Brown. She, Phil went to a property and there was a thermal
Sarah
footage.
Brown, that ding dong
Sarah
Sarah
Brown.
Brown. Oh,
I
good
wrote a few
God.
blogs about her. I got so much hate for
Oh
that.
yeah, because it's belief
Uh,
based. Yeah, she's
Utah
coming from a
Sasquatch.
yeah, because she's all coming from a Christian point of view, and Bigfoot's a
Mm,
demon, and it's an evil entity, and blah 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 blah, and she's catering to that Trumper mentality, and oh, sorry, cultist mentality. There you go. See, quick
Oh
cover
no,
up.
I call that fundamentalist. Like I said before, we've taken a look at this from that standpoint. That when you break down Bigfoot believers, right, you have to put them into a group of people that they can't get out of. You know, they can't consider other groups as being viable, right? If you're in the fundamentalist veil or idea of what it can be, there's a very narrow idea of what Bigfoot could be, and you can't almost you. I mean, so therefore, that's whenever you get into the fact that it has to be Bigfoot has to be a demon or some kind of a genetic throwback that God had made and discarded on the planet, because those are your two options. You know, the
mm,
fact that evolution that it could evolutionarily show up is not an option to you because the
Hmm.
world is 6,000 years old.
no, not Kelly Shaw, dog. Kelly Shaw wouldn't threaten me. Kelly Shaw would
The
block me and
ro-
report me. He's too much of a
Rocky
wuss.
Mount, the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization.
that's, that's a
Hi,
really good impression.
hi, everybody. We need to report the Richard Allen show because
He
that's
was,
what we
yeah.
do here with the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. God, it's like Forrest Gump on painkillers.
He's,
Um,
yeah.
I
He,
have received a death threat in video form by a guy in Colorado threatening to blow my head off because of my opinions about Marlon Keith Davis, MK Davis. That was fun. So
yeah.
I love throwing that little clip in my show. I'm like, bring it, bring it. You know, badass. If you want to blow my head off, here's my address. Come and do it.
Well, here's the
I'll be
thing that
waiting for you.
here's the
We've
thing
got,
that's interesting about that, and I will say this, right? I mean, not a lot of people know that I actually used to do things like archaeological digs to try to find things, right? Of that were in forests about 100 years ago, right? So I've spent a lot of times in with archaeological equipment in forests trying to look for uh, dead bodies and live ammunition and things like that. We all have to be careful about that. And I know how to do it. And I know how to get a hold of a body of a machine to find out a ground penetrating radar set to take down there. And I've said that on the show before, that if somebody wants to tell me where to look with it, I'll bring down the ground penetrating radar and we'll prove it one way or the other that there was a massacre there. One way or the other.
That's
Good.
something that we still
do
get
it.
hate on from this show. That we did the whole episode about the ludicrous massacre theory. We still get negative comments on that one on this on the YouTube show, and that blog I wrote about that absolutely ridiculous theory got a lot of hate as well. I didn't get any death threats over that, but it did get a lot of hate.
Right. So I mean, I'm looking at that. You can't. You're making somebody's making that assumption, out of nothing, right? Based on your interpretation of film thing. We have no certificates to say, in my opinion, that that MK Davis is an expert of any photography or film editing equipment at all, right? He's not
Mhm.
saying he's graduated from a class. He's got no certification in forensic film assessment or anything like that. He's a layman looking at things and making a determination, right? So in
Yeah.
essence, he's no different from me, you, or Richter on that one. Actually, Richter does have more certification because he's actually got film.
Education, yes.
Well, no, you've taken a class on film editing and on film sort of restoration and things like that. So you've done that. So of the three, you would be more capable of making that assessment. But we take whatever somebody says in here because they show us. I mean, listen.
To show us what we want to see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We want to see the prolapsed anus and the prolapsed vagina. We want to see the nipples of the Patty costume. We want to see her carrying the stick and the braid and the bloody dog print in the film. And we want to see all that because we want to believe.
Yeah.
This is why I want out of Bigfoot. It's all yours, guys. When I'm done with Off the Richter, have at it. Peace
Yeah.
out. I'm going where the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, into the West.
Yeah.
There goes
No,
Richter.
I've been out of the
Goodbye.
Bigfoot community for some time now. It was when Tim Fasano died. That's when I stopped really caring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we really don't talk about Bigfoot that much anymore, but it was just one of those interesting things where for our show primarily is night we get on here, talk about what happened in the first half of the week, have a wee bit of a gag, and then like talk about some weird subject in the second half of the hour. And
Like
so
steam powered submarines.
yeah, steam powered submarines.
That was a good one.
Yeah, which is a real thing.
Someone, Care Bear says Richter is into some kinky shit. I don't know. Maybe.
Richter is as tame as you can get. I mean, I think Richter is more shy than you believe that.
I'm a lot like Madonna. I'll do anything in front of the camera, but when it gets right behind the camera, when the camera lights are off, I won't.
Yeah.
That's
I think if you're gonna get Richter to do something, you better have a camera on him.
Yes, because otherwise,
I don't know if that's really a good thing. Because
I'm like Laura Ingalls Wilder. And then when you get me in front of a camera, I turn into Madonna. There you go.
Yeah, you are interestingly very calm in real life.
Prude. Yeah.
You're
prudish.
Very. I mean, like you're not, as you would say, flamboyant at all.
True. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
What does that say there?
It says I like to perform.
Is that is that Brent?
Yeah, that's Brent.
Is that my boyfriend Brent Dill?
Yeah, he was talking
Oh.
when we were talking about hate. He obviously got a lot of hate over the Laurie Simmons thing.
Oh
Brent,
yeah.
Brent, honey, you are one good-looking guy. Oh my God.
He really is.
Mm.
Like he did this show for a little bit,
Mm.
and he is like really good looking.
He's as smart as a doorknob, but that's okay. You don't have to be smart in the bedroom. You just got to be talented with your hands. No offense, Brent, but yeah.
Oh,
We're just gonna.
I won't be talking about philosophy with you in the bed sheets. I wouldn't be no.
yeah. It is interesting being friends with Richter though, and then hearing about all these people he wants to bone in big.
Well,
I-
how many? There's not many, Kevin. There really
No,
isn't.
there isn't. And I'm
Steve
glad-
Isdall. I would do Steve Isdall.
Oh, what's his face? Timber Giant Bigfoot. I'd do him.
You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Phil Poling bound and gagged and have a few sex toys in my hand to play with him with. That'd be kind of
Oh,
interesting.
come on. Oh, come on. You, hey, listen. Polling is a friend of the show, and we all know that you guys have a wee bit of a Barney between each other, so we're not going to go there.
I can't fantasize about him being bound and gagged and being silent.
I don't think he would enjoy that. I don't think he would
I don't
enjoy
know.
that. But what you do in your own mind is your business.
I could draw it at least.
What did
He
Brad
needs
say?
to be Richtered.
What did Brad say? Is
He
Brad
said
doing
he got hate over the MK massacre, not the Laurie Simmons thing.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, there's no way that because Brent basically says, that a lot of these things aren't real. So at this point in time, Brent is sort of, unless you're talking about the coalition, Brent is sort of persona non grata, and I feel sorry for him because of that. Because of, the fact that he's a local guy to me. You know what I mean? He lives down the road, and I've seen him in real life, guys. So therefore, there you go. So Richter and Richard, you can have your fantasies, but I know what the full suit looks like. You know what I mean? But
So let's talk about Brent.
what about Brent?
I don't know. Let's talk about Brent, the tall one.
Well, again, Brent was controversial because he had made claims that the Laurie Simmons tree was clunking against the root was clunking against the other part, and that the tree was in I think it's in a campground or something like that. And so
I have a question for Brent. What's it like having Adam Davies sloppy seconds?
can you is that an accurate statement though?
Which came first, the Brent or the Adam?
Yeah,
oh!
here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that. And we're not talking about in the same day. I don't think you can consider it a double dip if it's not the same day. What do you think, Richard?
Well, at the very least, they're tunnel buddies.
Right. I mean, yeah, we've been down the same road together. That's all I'm saying. They've been down the same road.
Well, Laurie is a beautiful woman. She's been blessed in the chesticle region of her body, and she's a sweetheart. Is she a hoaxer? Probably, like everybody else in Bigfoot. Nonetheless, I think she's a very nice woman. And if I was straight, I would want to take care of her and, make her happy. So Adam and Brent have good taste in women.
Yeah, I did.
So do you, Kevin. Samara is just as beautiful and blessed as
there is
Laurie.
certain similarities there. But what I would say is life goes on. If I don't understand why. Is that a little bit of jealousy on your part, Richter, because you haven't had a boyfriend?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Of course. But that's by choice, though.
Yeah.
I haven't really actively pursued anybody, and who I could have had a few opportunities with in Bigfoot, Kevin. We won't discuss that here.
Right.
That would explode. So we don't want to talk about anything pertaining to the
But what I'm saying is if you
particular project.
if you had a if you had a
Let's look at the chat room.
if you had a relationship with somebody in Bigfoot, do you think that that would make a difference as far as those different type of things?
No, it would probably just make me suicidal. So it's probably good not to date anyone in this field, if you call it a field. But no, I wouldn't want to.
Right.
If I were to meet Mr. Right in Bigfoot, I would have to be completely removed from the topic and the subject in order to me to have a positive relationship with that person.
Right.
Because I bring a lot of baggage, so
Right.
it would
So
also rub off on him. And what
Right.
if he started to make a name for himself? And what if he started to start speaking at conferences for whatever reason, God forbid, and then he's with Richter, and so then he starts to realize I am bringing him down because of my opinions on things. It wouldn't be fun. I'd have to be like Nadia Moore was with Adam Davies. She fell quiet. She went very silent, if you recall.
Yeah. Nadia, I don't think she really likes talking about Bigfoot anyway.
Oh.
Really from that standpoint, she's an interesting lady, but not in that sense of Bigfoot. Not more of a nature worshiper, I think, more than anything. But I would say, it would be interesting because your theories about Bigfooters being hoaxers and that would automatically sort of put you in a position of I automatically already can't trust this person because of the way that they're involved in Bigfoot, and then having a personal relationship with them too would add on top of that. Like you wouldn't start from a good position. That's my point.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What about Richard? Richard, would you date a girl in Bigfoot?
No.
Well, for starters, most of the women in Bigfoot are knuckle draggers. So yeah, there's that.
I just I fell out of love with the topic a long time ago, and I just I wouldn't really want a girlfriend that would talk about it much. It was boring, and it's
right.
It was a period of my life that's over with now.
And look what Brent said. He says, I wouldn't. So there you go. He's learned. He's learned his lesson.
well,
I think
again.
I think Brent really has tried to learn that because for the fact that if he, your family suffers, your family and private life suffers if you've got somebody you're trying to bring those things together, and more part to him if he's trying to keep it apart because there's no point in it. You know what I mean? And it's it is tough. It is tough. But that's the thing that we all get at. There is an insurmountable hill between people and Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like there's the group of 20 or whatever that's very hard to break into, whatever those 20 people are at any one given time, and people like Brent, me, are never going to get into that group. I that's the way I look at it. So you don't want to ever just throw away your humanity for that.
To reference what Care Bear is speaking, my microphone picks up everything, unfortunately, and I do have respiratory problems. I'm borderline asthmatic, so I apologize if my sounds kind of intimate for you guys. It's not intentional, just the bane of my existence.
We just thought you were rubbing it out.
No, I will later when Brent comes over. So Brent, I just live right down the street for you. So
the amount of times that he's found to talk about Brent's ass, and the amount of times that I've had to just sit here and just listen to it, and I'm glad that he wasn't whipping up a batch of pants pudding live on air. But I'm glad about that.
Yeah, it's weird. I've had this exact conversation with Nikki, and it's just, we get rid of her, and we're still talking about how good-looking Brent is. It just
he's gorgeous. He really is. I mean, very few men in Bigfoot can take your breath away just by looking at him. But once he starts talking, it's like, oh, honey, no. Just sit there and look pretty. That's it. Yeah. Say it.
Who was that really devastatingly good-looking Bigfooter? He was really big for a while. Utah Sasquatch?
Oh yeah, no,
Utah?
Rio,
Nathan Rio, our
Nathan
favorite,
Rio.
our favorite Adderall addict. Yes, yes,
Nathan.
He was really good
He,
looking.
he was like Captain America, wasn't he?
he
Yeah.
still is, and he's now maturing. He's now looking more like a real man. He was pretty young, 7 years ago. Now he's becoming more handsome.
He's becoming.
I
Is
got a
he
lot of hate for that blog as well when I called him out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, you think
Yeah.
is he growing into himself now? Is he more like Marlon? Is he more like who's that guy? Lauren Green now. You know how Lauren Green. A lot of people like Lauren Green. What was that show? Bonanza. Lauren Green. That's what I would imagine. That
Well,
that rugged good looks that
well,
Nathan has.
generally, men as they mature and get older become more attractive. Hence, why we continue producing sperm up until our death. So women only have a certain window of opportunity for childbearing, and therefore that's when all their energy is into their looks and their attractiveness and their appeal, which is unfortunate, but that's because of our evolution. And men like Brent and Nathan Rio will continue to become more and more attractive as they get older.
Ah.
And people like us, Richard and Kevin, we're just going to turn into frogs.
Yeah, I'm slowly turning into potato.
I think you're more of a you're more of a toad.
No, that's not
You're
true.
more of a toad with a dialysis drip. Beep beep.
I
beep, beep.
listen. I do not. I
Yeah.
do not.
And I'm the one
this-
that's going to be on a ventilator with my breathing.
Yeah. I at this point in time, I'm not hooked up to anything but a insulin pump.
Well, it's the origin of Bigfoot so flow is that Native Americans obviously had many tales about it, and they told these tales to the pilgrims, and mass hysteria explains the rest. There's lots of things that that explains, like that dancing plague in France. That was another good that was another good example of mass hysteria.
Yeah.
You know.
I look at it from this standpoint, guys. I really will always say it as a person who has learned the native language of the Salish Sea, the Puget Sound area around here. I speak Lushootseed. I'm one of very, very few white people that actually have spoken it, and which is interesting because as much as that goes, nobody ever asked me to interpret their Bigfoot video or Bigfoot voice things into native language. They're always trying to interpret into ancient, Chinese, Japanese, or Judah, like the lost tribe of Israel or something like that. Nobody actually takes the approach of using native language to try to figure out what a beast around here would actually say, if it could say anything. But my standpoint of it is this is a creature that is believed to be here, not necessarily in the form of a Bigfoot, but in the form of a hill giant, which is actually how the thing will translate to. And so I am, hopeful that from that standpoint there is a very humanoid or human-like race of tall human type people who live in the woods and have hidden from Western society for 150 years. That's what I believe.
Until Bob Gimlin ate them.
Yeah, and then Bob Gimlin ate them.
There you go.
Yeah.
That wraps it up, beginning to end.
Yep.
It's getting late, guys, so I believe that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many.
Okay. This was fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. It was nice. I thought it was just going to be me and Kevin.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, no, it was good. And it's nice how passionate you are about the subject as well.
Oh, thanks. And
It's been
opinionated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And Brent, if you're still listening, call me. All right. So let's start off the New Year's with a bang, baby.
And on that bombshell.
Could it be like one of them programs where you get it's like you can dub over his voice That's what you need to do. You need to hire a voice actor to do it. Like, okay, so Brett just stands there, and then I go, "Hey, Victor, your ass looks so good tonight."
Oh, hey, baby.
All right.
Funny.
Gonna have to rename this episode the X-rated one.
Yeah.
Or
All right.
Bigfoot's gone gay.
There you go.
Alrighty.
All right, good night, guys. Thanks for
Bye
listening.
bye. Bye bye.
Right.